It's a pleasure for me to be here with you to talk about what we love most, which is food and food innovation. For this purpose, I'm going to welcome my panelists. Please let me welcome Iñigo, Charola, and Pablo Rodrigo. And Giuseppe, who is a bit far from us, but we will have a very interesting conversation with you as well. So please take a seat. Okay, so continuing with food as last presentation, we have seen that we urgently need to transform the food system. And today, I'm really honored to be with these founders and CEOs of startups that are really revolutionizing the way we produce food. So let me quickly introduce you to them because I'm really involved with their activities, but some of you might not know about them. So Iñigo Charola, he's the co-founder and CEO of Biotech Foods. They're doing an incredible job in terms of thinking about how to create meat in a cell-based form. So how do we do cultured meat? We will talk more about that opportunity in terms of alternative proteins. Then Pablo Rodrigo, he is also the founder and CEO of Trazable, which is a startup that is working with blockchain technology to improve the transparency in the food system. And lastly, we have Giuseppe Scionti. He is the CEO and founder of Novameat, another startup working in the alternative meat space. Also super powerful innovation he's putting forward. It's very different to the plant-based meat you've seen up till now. So to kickstart the conversation, I would like to talk to you about why do you think this sector is being increasingly interesting for investors, for companies? Why do we hear so much about food tech these days?
I mean, I would say sustainability probably is the main factor. Some time ago, we didn't stop thinking about how the food system production is really affecting sustainability and the environment. But since we have started working on different alternatives, really, the question has arrived, okay? And I think it's here to stay. Nothing can stop it right now. 10 years ago, probably a little bit less than that, people started to work on plant-based proteins, something that has been with us for a long, long time, okay? But they never managed really to make attractive products for us to consume. Because at the end of the day, food needs to comply with that. You have to enjoy when you eat it, okay? So that's the main key factor that you have to meet. So they did a great job in order to create with soy protein, with pea protein, very attractive products. And they really learn, all of us, that there are options to really employ technologies that will allow us really to make a more sustainable food system. Because at the end of the day, we don't have to forget that, I mean, there is a huge food gap in the world. Population is growing because it's more people are born, but it's because our life expectancy is growing a lot. And there is only, we saw in the last talk, I mean, there is only, yes, one portion of habitable land that we can use in order to feed animals. And animals are really inefficient when they transform feed into meat, okay? So we have really to work on other technologies, and this is the reason why I think this is becoming so popular and it is attracting a lot of interest.
In my case, I agree with Iñigo, only to add that another trigger factor is that we as consumers are aware of the importance of the sustainability, no? Because why now? No? Why now is important? No, there's a lot of food tech startup. And I think it is due to that. We are aware of the importance of sustainability. The food industry is one of the most polluting industry, and we need to solve this problem, the population growth, and so on, so on. And where there is a problem, no, and the need, there are entrepreneurs and startups and investors, and that's why food tech is a hot topic here in the South Summit and in the entrepreneurship ecosystem.
Yes, let's continue with Giuseppe. He's not here because he's very busy talking to many investors about his startup. So he must know why investors are very interested in this topic in food tech. Giuseppe, do you hear us?
No, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Now we hear you, yes.
Hello? Okay, very good. Okay.
Some technical problems. So let's continue with our conversation. We talked about technologies. South Summit is full of different technologies that can be applied to different sectors. So in your cases, you are applying it to food, but within food to very different aspects, right? So Iñigo with Biotech Foods, it's mostly to address the problem of proteins, the protein demand, and in Pablo's case, it's the use of blockchain technology. So I'm very curious to know how both of your technologies are being applied to food, and why is that important? How can we bring like a better food system by using your technologies?
Yeah, so I mean, as we said before, we really need to feed the planet and all of us, and we need alternative sources of producing protein. Protein is something that we need to survive. We need it every day. And in fact, we don't store it as we do with fat, okay? So we need some of the essential amino acids we are not able to produce, so we have to consume and to eat it from products that we produce. And as I said, we need alternative ways of doing it. So what we do is cultivated meat, and the way of producing meat is using technology that has been already applied in the regenerative medicine before. It's a technology that is very well known and has been in use for more than two decades, okay? And what we are doing right now is trying to give it a different application. So all the systems are in place. The value chain exists. All the equipment, all the processors are well known. But what we have to do, and what is the key challenge, or the most important challenge here, is to transform a technology that normally has been delivering a product that is normally pricey, because, I mean, obviously for drugs, you can pay a certain amount of money because the active ingredient makes a great effort in a very small amount. But in the food industry, it's totally the opposite. Really, you have to produce huge volumes. We consume in the world more than 350 million tons of protein per year. So you really need to have a system that allows you to produce in mass volumes, but also to do it in a very affordable way, because we consume every day, and obviously we are not going to pay for any alternative more than we are used to pay today at the supermarket or in a restaurant. And that's the big challenge. So basically what we do, we work with the cells of the animal. In the case of the biotech foods, we work with land species, beef, pork, avian. There are other companies working with seafood also, that's possible, but we focus with land species. So you take a small portion of the muscle of the animal. You don't need to kill the animal. Then you make a cell isolation, and you just take the cells that are of interest for you. And then what you do is try for them to do what they are meant to be do, that is to replicate and to create muscle. So you have to give them the right environment. Normally you use tanks, stainless steel tanks, like we are using in the milk industry, in the beer industry, where you can put the temperature that is good for them. You can feed them with the nutrients that they need, with the gases like oxygen that they need. And as I said, they do what they are programmed to do. And then you can create meat in a very short time. Normally the process takes like 15 days. If you compare, for example, with beef, normally young beef is slaughtered when they are 12 months old. With pork is 6 months. Then obviously you have chicken that it takes just 42 days. And then once you do that, then you use less amount of water, you create much less quantity of greenhouse gas emissions because there is no methane produced by enteric fermentation. Okay, it is totally different way of producing it. So finally, what you can get is really a product that can allow you really to make meat alternatives that are tasty and are real and we can enjoy.
It sounds great. Well, at Trazable, what we do is work with companies such as the Iñigo ones and help them to connect with the rest of the stakeholders of the supply chain, because as you say, there's a value chain. You surely use byproducts or raw materials, and to ensure the quality of this meat, you need to ensure the quality of this byproduct of these raw materials. And nowadays, the problem is that most of the documents of the registers are paper-based. So you spend a lot of time tracking and tracing all the process, no? And if there is a food alert, this is a huge problem, no? For us, you waste food and foodborne disease and so on and so on. So you need to digitize this process, no? And share the information, because there's a supply chain. There are a lot of stakeholders that works together, no? There's not only one. And in this new era of the data is king. So who gonna store this data? No, there's a problem right there that the technology can help. No, that's why at Trazable we use blockchain to digitize and connect all these dots, all this company, and create lines in order to be able to track and trace products from farm to fork in just seconds, and be able to give all this information to the companies to be more efficient, but also to the consumers, no? In order to increase trust. And blockchain help us to create this trust framework in which all companies and consumers could work together or participate together.
Yeah, so for example, when his lab-grown meat comes out to the market, it's a way of making it more familiar to consumers, in the sense that they can look up the product with a QR code and they can know about the process, so it becomes less strange, right? And maybe they are happier and they feel safer with tasting that novel product.
Yes, and it's like a third-party audit to the technology. It's not like it's only Iñigo tell this story to you, but you have a third-party audit that is ensuring all the process.
I mean, I think that's really interesting. I mean, we don't have to forget that obviously there are technical challenges in the cultivated meat space, but obviously there are cultural challenges. I mean, consumers need to accept, need to understand, they need information in order to assess and to take the decision to include this into their diets. And that's something that has been working on for some time. And all these kind of tools obviously will be really, really helpful to make this successful.
Let's bring in Giuseppe to the conversation. So also 3D printed food is something very new to consumers, and probably also technologies like blockchain can help in the process. But Giuseppe, I wanted you to share more about what Novameat is doing, and also why this technology is so revolutionary. Still, we can't hear you, unfortunately. It's a shame. We'll keep on trying. You just give us a shout out whenever you're there. And going back to alternative meats, because I think it's a very hot topic, many people must be curious about. Let's share a bit with the public other options, other areas of opportunity, because I think we have Giuseppe with us now. Hola?
Okay.
Okay, you're there.
Thank you,
yes.
Beatriz.
Okay, go ahead. We hear you.
Yeah, so I think it's the perfect timing for alternative proteins. So at Novameat, we work on that specific field. And to talk in the same language as Iñigo and Pablo, I think in 100 years from now, everybody will remember that this period was the period of taking part of trying to solve a climate crisis and the biodiversity crisis. So I think that the three of us here are examples of trying to innovate. So I think to your question, What we've been doing is working on alternative meats, so in the same field of Iñigo, but instead of cultured meat, we work on plant-based meat alternatives. So these, which has been made famous by Beyond Meat and Impossible, but there is a lot of space for innovation because you need to go beyond the burger. So I think that it's a perfect timing in which we can contribute, the three of us, in different formats to the food industry revolution. And it doesn't need to be a dystopian future. We can imagine a future which is, as you explained, more transparent, where you know where the food is coming from, where you know the processes. And in our case, when Novameat has been known for developing the world's most realistic plant-based steaks and pork whole cuts, but we want to go beyond 3D printing. It's more about curiosity at the beginning of our projects when you are a startup, trying to create demonstrations and show that you can create something innovative, but then it's important to scale up. So I think that that will be my answer to what comes next.
Yeah, that's the challenge all of the startups are facing is now that I've come up with an incredible solution to the biggest challenges to the food system. How do I really make an impact by making this scalable? So I suppose all of you are in that process of making it widely also affordable, right? So not only scalable at a business level, but also making it at an affordable price for people.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, yes. I mean, as I said, food product you have to afford it. And what we want to do here really is to have an impact on the sustainability of the food system. So, I mean, it doesn't count if really you are able to produce a very premium product that only, yes, a few people are going to consume. Really, you need to do something that is going to be, it's going to take an important, a real chunk of the protein production system as a whole. I mean, there are some estimations, obviously, estimations for the future are always very hard, no? But they say that, I don't know, probably between 11 and 15% of the proteins that we consume by 2035 will come from alternative proteins. And for that really to happen, you need, as you said, to really work on the scalability of the processes themselves and then making it affordable. The industry, as I said, existed before, so biotechnology applied to the pharma industry existed, but there is a whole new way of looking at things from the value chain, and there is a whole new business model also that companies have really to decide if they really want to go for it or not, that will make this possible sooner than later.
In our case, maybe it's a little bit easier because we use blockchain technology, but we are software, we are a SaaS, no? So companies are used to work with softwares. And maybe the challenge to scale up and to create these network effects, which are very important for us, no? To connect these dots, is to combine companies that they need to be transparent or they need to share the information because it's a win-win, no? For the supply chain. So there is the challenge for us, no? To change the way that companies are sharing information all along the supply chain. Nowadays, each company has a small piece of the global view, and we need to change that in order to create one only digital report of all the story of the food products to be more efficient in the future, not to have this global view of the supply chain from farm to fork. And this is our challenge today.
How about you, Giuseppe? What challenges are you encountering with Novameat at the moment?
I think that here at South Summit is a perfect stage to explain that it's not a mature yet environment, the environment of startups here in Spain, specifically Italy, Portugal, Greece, but also France. What happens in the Mediterranean area, we have a lot of creativity, we have a lot of curiosity, but when it comes to the reality, it's about 100 times more difficult to find funding. So we are just closing our round. It's been great for us, but I think there is projects here in the area that are top quality and need the same support that you will find in the Silicon Valley or in Israel. So I think this is one thing. Second thing is being able to, because the system is not mature yet, not only the venture capital system, but also the innovation food industry. So there is the big corporates that need to approach the startup in the right way. So being not aggressive, but building together. I think these two things are important to start thinking and being able to fight the same way that we would like to fight. I think when you have so much talent around, so much in our case, for example, so many great chefs, so many great ingredients, knowledge, and it's all about being courageous enough to leave the old traditions and try new things. Try not be scared to try with the same chef, with the same new top quality ingredients, but go beyond the top quality traditional products that we had in the food industry to really make an impact and make a dent when we scale up for the wellness of our planet.
Yeah, so Giuseppe pointed out some of the limits in growing in the Spanish ecosystem, right? One of them being investment. But I also think we have a great opportunity for food tech startups in Spain, because food is a very important part of our economy, of our industry, of our culture, our identity. So what role do you think Spanish food tech startups can play in the global food system?
It's not an easy question. I mean, I think probably, what he pointed out, at the end, funding is really important, okay? Yeah, you need to have the skills and the capabilities, but I think you can find that in many places. Obviously, you have that, there is no sort of supply in Silicon Valley or some countries in Europe, some countries in Asia. And yeah, for sure we have that in Spain from the point of view of science and the technology, and obviously from the point of view of the food system itself. We have strong companies, strong corporate, a strong culture, okay, on the food. But funding is totally important when you're trying to bring a technology that is so disruptive, and that obviously you need to invest patiently before you really are able to gather any results, no? So I would say that yes, we have many positive aspects here in Spain for entrepreneurship in the food system, but still we have a lot of work to do in order to attract more funding. Obviously, nowadays we live in a very global community, and the funds can really be brought from other places, and we are seeing most of the projects that are funded nowadays in cultivated meat, they are receiving funding from different investors in different countries all over the world, okay? So that's happening. Still, I think Spain has to do a better job in order to be recognized as a potential country that really can bring leading companies, okay, to this field. But all in all, yes, I agree that we are in a very good position.
Yeah. So Pablo was recognized as one of the 10 best entrepreneurs in Spain last year. So I think Spain has a big role to play in food tech.
I fully agree, and I think maybe it's a cultural problem for entrepreneurs here in Spain. Then they don't have this mindset to go out and seek for funds outside, because here in Spain maybe it's more complicated. All the amounts are not the same that in Europe or worldwide. But in the food industry or in the food sector, food tech companies have the perfect sandbox to start, to test, and to get funds here in Spain, because we have a very huge industry, have different products or different industry in a small country or in a small area, and we have a very, very big ecosystem of entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs, tech people, no, to develop technical solutions. We are a very powerful country to develop great ideas. The only thing is to change our mindset And if we don't have funds here, go outside and take the money to Spain to start here the project, because we have the perfect ecosystem, in my opinion.
Yeah, Giuseppe is an Italian based in Spain, growing his business here. So share a bit about why you are doing this. What opportunities do you see in the Spanish ecosystem?
Well, I think that everybody knows here that Beatriz, for example, is director of Kilometro Zero Innovation Hub. So there is examples of great people, great organizations that are really changing this system here and moving us into the future. I think that in Spain, for example, will make my case. I came to Spain to do a PhD in tissue engineering, so was building artificial organs, same technology that is then, instead of plant-based, like in my case, then the team of Iñigo, it comes from the same technology, for example, of Professor Mark Post with the first plant cultivated burger in 2013. So from that sector, I was so lucky that I was able to discuss with Ferran Adrià, with Seyer de Carroca, with Disfrutar. So 3 of the top 5 restaurants in the world in the same region. In this specific case, this was in Catalonia, and I was able to discuss this before opening a startup. So being able to have these food top stars, let's say, it's super important. And I think that it's becoming obvious that there is a very different approach to food in different countries. So the products are different, but also if you are able to create a premium demo, and we are very good in Spain and Italy, for example, in creating small-scale super premium products, Ferrari, Lamborghini, or Jamon Serrano top qualities. I think that being able to demonstrate that our creativity, our adaptability in the Mediterranean area, which is our big advantage, and the top quality of ingredients then need help from ecosystem. For example, Beatriz, as I said, is a good example. And I think that it's not a matter of if this will happen, it's a matter of when this will happen. It's exactly the same of electric cars. All these transitions are happening. So we can do it or not, we can like it or not, but this is happening. So why should we wait somebody from Asia or somebody from North America to do it before us? So people that are in this panel, we do this anyways. I mean, we don't care what's the ecosystem around, and we try to build the ecosystem together. And I think that it's so obvious because if you see, for example, all the Netflix documentaries, all the BBC Earth documentaries right now, it comes down to 4 big challenges we have ahead. One is stop deforestation, stop overfishing, solve the livestock inefficiency, and renewable energy. 3 of the 4 main issues to really save the planet and then save our health are related to food. Deforestation, the main driver, 40% is driven by beef specifically, and then the rest, maybe 10%, is driven by palm oil, etc. So it's so obvious and becoming so obvious for the new generation that if we don't do ourselves, somebody else will do, and we should do it here. We should do it in the Mediterranean area, in Spain, Italy, and year round, because we have the power.
Thanks, Giuseppe. Yes, so the issue is very pressing, but at the same time very exciting, because we are playing a role in transforming this essential issue in our world, for planet, for people. So thank you very much for doing what you're doing. Congratulations. And I think we have to move on to the next panel, but it was a pleasure to be with you here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.